I started trapping, I was probably 11. I believe I was around 11. Like I said, other kids trapped. The Miller boys, who I went to school with, them and their dad trapped. And they were showing me the traps, and I went home and here the neighbor girl down the road, and I'm telling you, this is the God's honest truth. She's the ugliest girl I think I ever met in my life. She's one that we trapped, you know. And she trapped, her brothers trapped, her dad. And she's the one we rode with them to take our couple muskrats to Ron Romick and sell them for $1.90 a piece. I still had the receipt somewhere, but at any rate, I caught a couple muskrats the first year, and I bought 6 traps at Marty Kern's Hardware. #1 Long Spring, Victor's. It might have been Blake and Lamb's, I can't remember. First night, 3 of them got stole. That would have been in the early 70s. Trapped, and I don't know, I think I pretty much trapped all the way through, but not heavy until I was out of school. I was making $4.50 or $5 an hour, and foxes went to $50 a piece on the carcass. You know, me being the mathematician, thinking 1 fox a day, I made more money than I do at work. I could do that. And the high-priced years, that's when I really took off. Of course, then prices dropped, so I just had to catch more. You know what I mean? Make it up. You know, and it went from there. But yeah, I started pretty early. Caught my first raccoon on a Christmas morning. I was probably 13 by then. I tried catching foxes. I couldn't catch a fox till I was about 18. Until I finally figured it out. Nobody would help you back then. I remember first year I caught my first fox. I caught 9 that year. The second year I caught 33. And I remember I caught 3 in one day, which was a big deal for me. And I was coming down the Beaver Dam Road, and there was Jim Kearns, old man Jim Kearns. He's dead now, but he, at that time, he was the big wheel. He was the big fox trapper. I think 70-some fox a year, you know, and he was the man. And I stopped, I was that excited, blubbering, I caught 3 fox today. He said, what did he tell me? You'll never catch 30 in a season. I guess it pissed him off, you know, I don't know, you know, but ended up catching 33 to make a liar out of him, I guess, I don't know. And then from then I caught 93 and 102, and it just progressed, you know. That's me.
My story about how I got into trapping is pretty unique. I'm the last person that would be a country boy, redneck type. My mom is from Panama. My dad is Irish Catholic, New York. And we came back from California when I was 10 years old. I lived in LA for a year when my parents broke up. And came back and moved into a little trailer park in southern Lancaster County. We were dirt poor. And there was a lot of dysfunction. My dad was a recovering alcoholic, and my mom had to work to make ends meet. But my dad and I did go for a walk in the swamp right near the trailer park, and there was 4 traps laying there with no tags on them in like the middle of the summer. And I remember stopping and being like, "Whoa, there's traps there! I don't want to get my feet in them or something." That's how naive I was about it. But I called a friend of mine to tell him, and he said, well, my neighbor is a trapper and has a trapping supply business. So he was a kid from school. It was actually over the summer, and I still had his phone number. So I went to see this guy. His name was Dan Adams, and he had a little trap supply shop. And I said, what can I catch with these? And it was 2 1.5, I guess Victor's or Northwoods, and then 2 little #1 Long Springs. And so in metal shop, I made a tag for it, and then I painted them green with some green latex paint and took them back over to him. And he said, well, what did you paint them for? And I said, well, to make them camouflage. And he said, just set them and see what you can catch. And nobody showed me. My dad had no interest. I went out in the swamp there where I had actually found them, and tried to catch my first coon. I was 11 or 12 years old, and caught a possum or two, and took them over and got a buck apiece for them. And then the next year went out and caught 2 raccoons, and then of course got like $5 a piece for them. And but while I was there in his shop, these guys came in, and these guys brought in 4 foxes and set them down on the floor while I was there. And I was like, wow, that's what a fox looks like. And they caught 4 in one day. It was 2 guys, I couldn't tell you who they were or anything. And it was just mesmerizing that these elusive critters that you've never seen before to a 12-year-old boy. Of course, my dad's sitting in the car. He didn't want to go inside and be bothered or anything like that. So I just kept wanting to. And of course, I was poor, and Dan Adams gave, I think, I don't know, $30 a piece for him or something like that, or $25. In 1983 or 84 was pretty good money, seeing as just the cost of living and whatever. And we just had no, like, we didn't even have Christmas. That's how poor we were. And so I just kept at it, and I didn't catch my first fox until I was 17. One of the neighbor kids wanted to learn how to trap. So I taught him how to trap coons, and then him and I rode together and trapped on the same farm together. And he had read for a fishing game, how to make a dirt hole. Well, he caught his first fox before I did. So here I am, I showed him, how to do it and everything else, and taught him about raccoons, but he caught his first fox before I did. And of course, I was like, look, I'm so pathetic that some kid I showed how to trap, could catch one before I did. But soon enough, I caught my first one, I think when I was like 17. And then the next year caught like 2 or 3, and then the next year like 5. And then by my 3rd year, I got a full-time job working at a building supply company. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to just ramp this up a little bit more. I got a truck, and I bought 2 dozen 1 3/4 Northwoods off of John Eby. When Northwoods went out of business, John Eby had a whole truckload. I paid $34 a piece for them, and for the dozen. And that year was a surplus of red foxes. And with the crudest sets, and being, total novice at age 18, I caught 50 like in a month. And it just was, and I thought I was, just king, just awesome, And I remember going to the fur buyer prior to that, to R&R Furs down there in Quarryville, and I heard, and these guys were way over the top. R&R Furs were way over the top guys. They were fur buyers, but they trapped and stuff. But the one guy you knew was, even though I was 17 years old, I knew was a big talker. But they said to me one day, well, Brownie's up to over 300. And I was like, 300 what? 300 foxes. He'll break 400 this year. I said, who? Brownie. I said, well, what's a brownie? Well, a guy from Honeybrook. And I said, what? I could not even fathom that was even, because there I was catching, 5 or 10. So on the way home, I'm trying to crunch the numbers, how many farms I would have to have, catching 3 or 4. And it just kind of turned into this thing of, I like checking traps, and I like, I don't like getting up in the morning. That's the joke that everybody knows, when's Crawford getting up early? I'm not an early riser, but getting up to go fishing, getting up to check traps, a frosty morning with a fox in the trap is pretty awesome with the sunset. And it kept me out of trouble. That's one of the things I want to state, is that it really kept me out of trouble. Because while the trailer park wasn't, the 5th Ward in Lancaster City, it was, there was a division of kids that were destined for trouble, drinking at age 14 or 15, already smoking, going down to the bus and smoking and carrying on. Not that there's anything wrong with smoking, but when you're 14 or 15, I think that is. And just kind of we were all kind of dysfunctional, and I was the kid that would come up past the kids smoking with a raccoon into my backpack because I had gotten up early to check traps, and I was, they were laughing at me and everything else, and I rode my bike up past them, and I was focused on the outdoors while they were focused on trying to deal with their form of dysfunction, and they ended up getting pregnant, in trouble with alcohol, in trouble with drugs, and miscellaneous other things, and it really kept me out of trouble, and it kept me from, because looking back, there was so much dysfunction growing up in my family that, I was on the verge of being a depressed kid. I acted out because I had no attention from my family, from my parents, and so it. I don't know, did trapping save my life? I don't know if I'm going to go that far, but it really kept me from going down a wrong road. And there were people along the way that helped me with trapping. Dan Adams was one, even though he had a little bit of a lying problem. R&R Furs. Steve Rainier was a guy that Phil knows Steve Rainier, and then it becomes kind of like a little bit of a brotherhood, and it's been good. It's been like part of my life, and I want to state that if we get kids out there, maybe they're a lot less prone to get into trouble, and maybe they have dysfunction in their families, and it's a really great outlet. It's a passion and a skill and a craft that you end up learning, and you, like a Gorman says, if you can catch a fox or a coyote, you can do just about anything, because animals don't make mistakes or they end up dead.